everybody. This is going to be a very informal video. I'm not even, no makeup, nothing. Somebody asked me, what is my setup for taking videos? So I thought, why don't I just make a video of it? So if you want a tour of my video space, let's go. So the first thing to know about my video space is the only part of it that's ever neat is this right here where it shows in camera. Otherwise, it's pretty much a pile of whatever I was working on last and all the little bits. So I use this space in two different ways. Let's start with when I'm doing a Zoom or a webinar, which is why I have the computer here. So when I do some sort of Zoom or webinar, I have this camera, this webcam attached to my computer with it open, obviously, and that shows my face. And on Zoom, you can switch cameras. So I have a second camera, which is this one right here. And that's the same webcam, I think it's a different model, but it's the same brand and everything. And that attaches using what's called a cold shoe. Now I pulled this shoe, that's this little bit right here. It screws into the bottom of the webcam. I pulled this shoe off of an old camera from when I was a realtor. I don't know, I haven't found a good source on Amazon for just the shoe. There's lots of hot shoes, but those are more expensive. The difference between a cold shoe and a hot shoe is that a hot shoe conducts electricity for things like flashes and all of that, whereas a cold shoe is just a connection point. So this is an old cold shoe. I don't think I'm going to have a link for that for you guys, but I will try again and find one. And this right here is a cold shoe mount. This one right here. Let's see if I can get that name. There we go. Oop, let's try that again. Okay, so that is the cold shoe mount. I bought it on Amazon. It screws into my phone mount in the bottom. And the cold shoe just sits in the mount like that. And so that points down at my hands and I can switch back and forth. Now you're wondering, when I'm sitting here, isn't this right in front of my face? Well, yes, it is. And it moves. Okay, so when I move it, I have a nice clear space here for you to see my face. And then I can move it in here and point down at my hands. So that's for when I'm teaching on Zoom or live, right? This is a phone mount that doubles as the camera mount for my hands. When I'm recording a video for YouTube, when I'm recording it and editing later, I use my phone. So my phone actually rests right in here like this. And then you can see this is where the camera end of it is, and it points straight down. So this mount can turn this way, that way, if I want to change the angle. There is a little screw down here where I can actually rotate it this way if I want to take a portrait version instead of a landscape version. And with this here, I can angle this up or down a little bit too to get a nice level view. This is an arm that I bought on Amazon. And I can't remember if it was one piece or two pieces. It might have been two pieces. There might have been this vertical arm and then this bendy horizontal one, or it might have been one piece. I'm not sure. But this unscrews here and you can raise or lower it. So another trick that I use if I'm teaching, if I want to show my hands, but I may want to zoom out more because I'm showing a bigger project, I'll actually raise this up here and then it sits above my head, which is fine that I can't see it because I can see the picture this is taking on the screen, right? I don't have to look at the camera. But when I'm using my phone, I want to look at the phone because it's not sending it to a computer. It's not in front of me anywhere I can see. It's not plugged into my computer. So with my phone being right here, I can see on my phone screen what's happening down here. And that's perfect. I actually end up, it took a little practice, but I end up looking at my phone screen to see what I'm doing instead of looking at my hands sometimes. I go back and forth. So that is the camera setup. Now let's look at the sound setup. That's all one device here. This is my Blue Snowball microphone. It plugs into my computer with a USB when I'm doing a Zoom or a webinar. And it plugs into my phone with the same USB, just with this little dongle to plug into my phone for when I'm recording for YouTube. And to keep the cords organized, I just put this little clamp up here and I drape the cords over there if I'm going, to my phone, or I bring it around here, Whoa, I knocked it down. I bring it around here and plug it into my computer if I'm using it on my computer. This stand that I just knocked over, which doesn't ever happen, I swear, is just made of PVC. I used to use this. I had one of these little U shapes. I used to use it to hold my photo backdrops when I was using those. And I drape the backdrop over here like this. But then I repurposed it later. I got enough pieces to make another side to it and a back over here. Oh, I don't even have a back. But now it's become a frame kind of to drape things across like this piece of fabric. So this frame is held on with more of these clamps onto my table. And this frame right now is holding this piece of fabric, and you can see it's just clamped on with clamps, which is from an old light box kit that I had. It's meant to be a backdrop, but it's perfect for diffusing the light that's coming off of my LED light here. This LED light is from the Daylight Company, and it gives a really good daylight white. So it's the right, I don't have to color correct very much on my videos, but it's very bright, right? And it's all overhead. So this diffuses it a bit so it doesn't create such harsh shadows. You see that shadow there? That is coming from this overhead light. When I turn that off, you'll see how that goes away. See how that just went away? That's because I don't have a single point of light anymore. I just have this diffuse light coming from the top. Now there still is a bit of shadow coming from there, even with the diffuser kind of draped over it. And one important thing, if you're gonna do that, see where the vents are? I keep the vents exposed. I make sure there's airflow. I'm not blocking vents here. I may be blocking a couple, but there's definitely airflow going to this light, so we're not starting any fires. And this light clamps onto my table back here, and it can bend and turn in all different ways. So to add to this light, to again diffuse some of the shadow, I have key lights. And key lights are just lights that are on the side that provide ambient lighting around you to again diffuse the light. I broke this one, which is why it's so floppy, and I just kind of balance it here and try very hard not to touch it so that it's at a good angle. And it bounces light off of this wall here, which hides my ejector pump because I'm in my basement. But down here is the switch, and I just flip it on like that, and there is the key light. And then I have another one on this side. Both of them are held down with bean bags from a cornhole kit. So I got a couple sets, and those hold them pretty well in place unless I kick them or the dog runs into them. And those bounce light just off the side walls here. And that usually gives me good lighting, especially for my face. If I don't have those on, it can be kind of dark when you look at my face from the webcam. My face is kind of shadowy. So these actually bounce the light around pretty well. But for looking at the table, I don't even need those for looking at the table. I just stick this up here, and I can see from the top of the screen what's going on with my hands. So that is the phone mount right there. So those are all the pieces. I think the only other piece I didn't mention is this laptop stand, which is not mandatory. It just puts the laptop at a nice angle for me. And I like that. So I use that. And then underneath there, I have a little custom tray that has more of a story to it. It's actually from a Mahjong set, and my friend, the woodworker, made it for me for Mahjong. And I don't play that very often because I don't have people to play it with. So it's become my little essentials stand for things I might need when I'm on camera. So that gets tucked under there. And the other piece of invaluable equipment is my little bowl. This bowl normally, when I can find them, holds stitch markers and a needle, because I always end up needing those in a video and forgetting to bring them with me. And that's about it. That is my setup. I will post this on YouTube, and I will add a link to my Amazon store once I get everything set up on there so that you can buy any of this equipment that I've bought using my affiliate links on the Amazon store. So I hope that was a fun little look into my tiny little nook down here. And somebody had asked me for this because they've got a friend who is trying to set up a similar situation for taking videos and wanted to know what I use. So this is what I use. All right, bye everybody.